Should take a look at the screen. You see this streak
See what you looking
of
like.
gray?
Oh, yeah. And then all the gray in my beard, so.
I prayed that it would come in one patch like that because my
Like Spike.
Because my godmother said it was like that. Hers was a birthmark. Things you ask for.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Y'all are ready to start whenever you get it.
Whenever? Okay. Okay. How are the levels? Sounds all right?
Sounds great, man.
All right. Cool. Cool. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. We're ready.
Rolling.
What's up, everybody? You've tuned in to Just Draws, the podcast that explores hot topics and various experiences among same-gender loving Black men. In each episode, we offer raw, vulnerable, and stripped-down perspectives to give voice to our frequently overlooked population. Here, we don't just scratch the surface, we dive deep, peeling back the layers of our experiences as well as heteronormative stereotypes. Let's get into this week's episode.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Just Draws podcast. I'm your boy DMC, and Jeff, as you notice, is not here with me today.
I'm Jeff.
But yeah, that could be Jeff right now. We're doing just the two of us, and of course, whenever I do just the two of us, you have to make sure, or I have to make sure, that I have my homegirl Anjeleigh here with me. So welcome. Everybody finally gets to see what Anjeleigh looks like. Yeah. Other than the picture that we have to, that we post up when we've done it before. So thank you for doing this with me today. We appreciate you being here. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about a topic that we've alluded to in some of our Just the Two of Us before. And so we've talked about love languages. The first one we did, we talked about being friends in school. So we didn't really go necessarily into love languages there. But then we talked about relationships and crushes at another point. And did we do a third one? Did we do another one? Or was it just these two?
The relationship, we did the throwback one.
Oh, yeah, we did a throwback. Yeah, we did a throwback one where we just talked about memories. And so I think the stuff came out in that one as well.
Somebody's never been on a podcast live before. And so, y'all, I was looking over here. I'm not cross-eyed. The camera's there. Thank you. All right.
Yeah. So, and I've done this before. So yeah. So I knew where the camera was. I knew where my stuff was. All right. With my light. Is that my camera? Yeah. So I knew what that was. And so we've talked about love languages before. And so one of the things that we mentioned in that podcast is, we need to do a podcast about love languages so that we can just kind of talk through some things. And so both of us have this book, which is The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. And she has the deluxe version. I got the abridged because I just bought mine recently. So I went through and read all of mine, and she's got tabs and notes just like it's the Bible, her text. So we're going to be referring to the text today as we are talking about love languages. Exactly. All right. So to get started, do you know what your love languages are in order?
Yes. I do.
Okay. What are they?
And number 1, words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, acts of service.
Mm-hmm.
And number 3 would be the gifts. And number 4 would be the quality time.
Okay. And then 5, it would be, what's the 5th one?
Physical touch.
Physical touch. That's right. Yeah, physical touch.
And that's
right.
Not that I don't like, a good physical touch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the others are taking a higher. Than that.
So yeah, okay. And so mine are very similar to yours. They're definitely words of affirmation.
Just found that out today.
So words of affirmation. The second one would be quality time for me. And then the third is physical touch. Physical touch was third. And so then it was acts of service and then gifts. So gifts are definitely very low for me because I'm the guy that gets everything that if I want it, like I'm just going to work towards getting it, or I'll just go out and get it.
You all know he's blessed like that.
Yeah, a little something. So I'm the one that always does that. But so there's not a lot of gifts. There are things that people who know me are really very focused or they're very tuned into what I like. And so they will get me something, and it could be something like super small. Like I just celebrated a birthday, of course, in September. And one gift that I got was just like a duffel bag. It was because I travel, and sometimes I'm always talking about, I wish I had like a bag that was about this size, because I don't need to take this huge suitcase, or I need something bigger than this. So I got a bag, and I was like, this is perfect. This is what I need. So just kind of simple stuff like that. But yeah, so a lot of us, both of us have our very similar love languages there. So you are married. How long have you been married?
12 years. 12 years a wife.
12. Okay. 12 years.
12 years. There's 12 years the same.
Swear, yes.
I am 12 years a wife.
So
and I'm grateful.
Okay, I was about to say, is the slave.
And I'm grateful.
Yeah. It's the okay. All right. So you having been married for 12 years, do you know what your partner or your husband's love language is?
Yes. His are one, quality time,
okay,
which is, I always thought it was physical touch, but it's not. Quality time and then physical touch.
Okay.
Words of affirmation is like probably on the bottom. It's his very least.
Okay.
Acts of service is next after the physical touch.
Okay.
And then gifts would be after that. And then the words.
Okay. And did you all do that test together? So for anybody who's not heard of this before, there is a test in here that tells you or helps you determine what your love language actually is. So you can actually look that up online. We will put a link to the webpage in the bio of the episode. We'll do that so that you have that and you can go and check out what your own love language is. But this book basically just kind of breaks down all of those different love languages, and it also talks about how you can function or how you function within a relationship when you have differences in love language, if you don't have the exact same love language. But you all took the test.
Yes, so we actually attended it was a whole event by Gary Chapman, and we actually got this book there, and he signed it on the inside, and the tests are in the back of this one. And so we talked about it beforehand and learned about it, and then we went to see him in actual, real time. It was different than the test. More involved questions as to it was like a 25 question event versus the 10 that we did. Sorry, it's my personal book. 10 that we did online. And so it didn't change what we had, but it didn't. They haven't changed over time either.
Okay.
And we did the official
test. The languages haven't changed.
Right. So we did it's a profile for the husbands, it's a profile for the wives.
Okay.
And so we did each profile there, whereas online we did just our regular questions. But that was the first time we actually got deep into it. We only had a surface knowledge, but we went to that and we got this book. It was like, oh wow. So the title on the front of my book says How to Express Heartfelt Commitment to Your Mate. So,
and mine just says The Secret to Love That Lasts. So
I'm joking.
Yeah,
but,
it is.
But yeah, it's just because we were at that thing. But it says includes the 5 love languages personal assessment tool, which is one allows you to do one yourself, and then it tests to see how well you know your partners.
Okay. How did that turn out?
I was like, ooh, I didn't know that.
Okay.
Because I always thought it was physical touch.
Okay. Did he say the same thing about you? Like he said, I didn't know that yours were what they were?
He didn't know that the acts of service
was that high.
Was up there. He didn't know that, So
and
it kind of shed light on to why the cutting of the grass and the doing the dishes was always intense for me.
Yeah, I remember us talking about that in that previous podcast, and you kept talking about cutting the grass, and I was like,
cutting the grass.
Yeah, and I was
like in the book when they talk about the man says, I don't understand why the dishes or why the laundry is so intense for her, and because he says to her, what can I do to fill your love tank? And she said, you can do that laundry.
Yeah.
And he's like, laundry, that's not love, but to her, that is love. So it's different when you get into it this way, because then you learn, that's how they communicate love. Which takes your relationship to another level when you learn how they perceive love.
Yeah. And, I'm single, so I haven't had the opportunity to kind of take this test with a partner yet. So I'm hoping that, at some point in the future that I'll get a chance to do that and then be able to kind of see how that works. But I can definitely articulate what my languages are, and we'll get into how they show up and how they manifest for each other in a little bit. But do you intentionally incorporate your partner's love language into your daily interactions?
Didn't we have this conversation earlier? I said
Today.
No, I'm just kidding.
We did.
So intentionally is the word that shifts that for me. So do I intentionally do it for him? I do not. That is my character flaw. I don't intentionally do it, and I need to do that. Do I find myself making sure that I do it, or do I find myself questioning, like, did I or should I, or do I want to? And then if I don't want to, I still do it. Because I might not feel like the quality time or feel like the physical touch. But because that's it's on the 5, you do that. So that's what love is about, what they perceive to be love. So intentionally do I be like, bound, get bound? No.
Yeah, right.
But do I find myself going, you know what, I think he probably need a little, take the edge off of that a little bit, because he's not
with the physical
himself.
touch.
Physical touch or whatever
quality,
else.
okay.
Quality time. Hey,
Okay.
you want to go to the movies, or
So
you want some food? 'Cause
You've
that's
put
the
that
other
out.
part.
Yeah, you've put that out there to him. Like, okay, hey, do you want to or need a? Or,
Yeah, hey, you
okay.
want to go do something, or
Okay.
hey, anything you want to do? Because especially if we're sitting around,
Okay.
or if I see him just kind of like his posture may be different, or just his attitude may be different, or how he's speaking or not speaking or not doing anything, then I'm like, okay, do you? Let me see, you like this. Okay, so do you feel like going to something, or you want
You feel like burning up this pork chop in the
you
kitchen?
want me to make that? You
You
like
wanna burn this
burning
pork chop in the kitchen?
You know, matter of fact, let me get that pork chop this time, because you burnt that the last time, and I saw your efforts. I saw you doing that.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that from now on you don't get a burnt pork chop, and
Yeah.
that's important. So
And that you don't smoke us out
and
of our
that you
house.
don't smoke us out this house.
Yeah.
So intentionally, it takes a lot of work to be that intentional, especially when you have your own things going on and you have to take lunch to somebody at school and that kind of things.
Which
Let
should
that
be
go.
curbed
Let
a little
that
bit.
go in 24.
Yeah,
It should be.
Should be
It
curbed a little bit.
It should be curbing. But that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah,
We'll
it
talk about
is.
that on
It's a
another-
whole other
But-
topic. Yeah.
Yeah, but intentionally, I have to work on being more intentional for what his needs are, and being more attentive to that.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay then.
Thank you
Okay.
for that question.
Yeah, yeah. So then, to kind of follow up with that, like, what challenges have you faced in engaging with that love language? Because you said that physical touch was a little bit lower for you on the list,
like 5.
but it's up higher for him. So how do you engage or navigate that with your partner?
Right. So that's a good question too. So even with his primary, with the quality time, I don't speak quality time, so that's something he's had to show me what that looks like. So I always say, if you're going to say you speak a language, then you want to tell me what it looks like, what it sounds like. So if you say, I like quality time, all right, paint me a picture, write me a song. What does it look like to do quality time? Because I might think this is quality time. Or going to the mall, or just sitting around watching Golden Girls, or whatever. But to him, quality time is not just being in the house.
Okay.
It's literally being together in the house and talking is a different. So the challenge for me has been, what does that look like for you? Because to me, it looks like this. So changing my perspective on what it looks like was a challenge in the beginning. But now it's like, okay, tell me what that looks like. Cool, we can go do that. Because you speak that, I don't. It's like speaking another language. You speak Spanish, I don't. Teach me how to do that. So that was a challenge at first, because I was like, and then he kind of switched it up. He was like, well, no, I kind of like this. And sometimes he really wants the quality time, and sometimes we really go on my number 5. So then it's like, okay, let me get ready.
Yeah.
Because that's important to you, so it's important to me. So, yeah.
Have you run into? No, you kind of answered that. So with your love language, the top one being words of affirmation, how do you expect for him to, or how would you expect a partner to show up in that way for you?
That's a good
How does
question,
it how does it manifest? Yeah, for you.
So in the form of support, or in the words of, hey, I'm proud of you, or
Okay.
in the sense of being there, like, hey, accompanying me to go to the podcast, or coming with me to go speak somewhere, or being with me just in the house, saying, hey, I see you clean that toilet, girl. It's a good job.
Okay.
Just
So
a
it's
little
more
something.
it's more it feels more praise.
It feels
you.
a little praisey.
Okay,
Like
praise
I
it.
see,
Like,
it's
put a
more
praise
like
on it.
I said, put a praise on it. Don't start it here because we already had that moment. But yes, it is putting a praise on it a little bit. It's more like I see you. Like, come on, shirt. So it's sort of like this when we say, come on, shirt, or we say, come on, boots. It's like, I
Well,
see you.
yeah, you say that.
So I do say that.
Yeah, you do say that. I don't. Yeah, I'm just like, oh, I like that. Yeah.
You might not say that, but I say that. So I'm gonna say that because I say that.
She does.
And a lot of people say, if they see your shirt, they're like, oh, come on, shirt, or come on, boot.
And pull your
You
hand
don't
back.
say it,
Pull your
but I
hand
say
back
it,
like
okay.
that.
You got to
Like
put
that.
That's the recognition.
That's the recognition. That's the affirmation right here, everybody.
anointing.
This is the affirmation.
That's the affirming hand.
Yeah.
That's the hand of affirmation.
Right.
But to your question and to your point, it sounds like I see you. It sounds like you did a good job, or hey, that was good what you did. Hey, I heard. Or even in growing in marriage, it sounds like, hey, any other time you'd have went left. But I saw you do something different. I see you on that. Come on, peace.
Yeah.
Come on, Joy. I see you. All right, love. I see you coming in here. See? It's
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in that form of the affirmation of like, I see you, which is, yeah.
Okay. I know for me, we've had the conversation about the words of affirmation, and for me, it's not necessarily about praise. For me, it's acknowledgement.
And I think that's
It's
what
that,
it's
what you
that.
just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not like
It's all right,
praise,
yeah.
like hallelujah.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
that level of praise worship. It's not that. It's more of a, I see you.
Yeah, and
I
for
see what you're doing. I see the work you've done. That's great.
yeah,
I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
That's
It's just
what it is.
it's just an acknowledgement for me, like a. It could be as simple as, "Hey, what's up? How was your day?" Or "What have you been up to?" Or a "Thank you for." And that is kind of a praise, being a friend. Yeah. And so in that it could be it could be praise. Like I appreciate you, listening to me when I was tripping about whatever it was at work, or a situation of, well, I thank you for taking care of this, like you said, something like that, or just sometimes it's a look. When I was dating, sometimes when I would FaceTime with my partner, like sometimes just the look that I would get, like a smile and and I'm like, what?
Like a nod, like.
Yeah, like what do you what are you thinking about? What's that? Tell me what that is. And that's affirming to me. It doesn't even necessarily have to be words, So I'm like, this is cool. Or, and I miss you, or, I know I haven't talked to you in a while, but this is what's going on. I don't want you to think, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's affirming for me. It doesn't have to be, like I said, praisey per se, because I've gotten that a lot. And I'm like, okay, I've kind of gotten conditioned to it.
To the praise.
To a point, yeah, And so, not to sound pompous or anything in that, but I have gotten that. And so I'm like, okay, well, give me some other little things, some very small sorts of things there.
So according to Gary Chapman, because we're going to go
yes.
to the word.
Yeah, go to the text, yes.
We're going to turn to the text.
Turn your Bibles to.
We're going to turn to the text. We're in chapter 1. We're in chapter 4. And then he says that verbal compliments or words of appreciation are powerful communicators of love. They are best expressed in simple, straightforward statements of affirmation, such as, you look sharp in that suit, or do you ever look nice? Do you ever look nice in that dress? That's probably the other culture that says it like that.
Yeah.
And
Right.
you must be the best potato cook. That's not what it says. It says best potato cook in the world, and I love those potatoes. It can be as simple as, hey, babe, that sausage potato casserole was good last night.
Yeah.
Or that pork chop was really good. Or it is not the praisey part. It's not a praise party, but it's sort of like, I appreciate you for doing the shower and the bathroom and the decorating and the stuff.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. I see you. I saw you do that work over. I appreciate you cutting that grass.
Yeah.
Nobody
And
cut
putting out,
grass
what was the
like
name of that
they
stuff
did.
that you said that they would put out to keep snakes or something away?
The snake away or the mothballs?
No, it wasn't mothballs.
Oh,
something
the
you said.
seven dust.
That's it. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes. That's it. Because nobody can sprinkle that seven dust like you do.
Okay, right.
Another thing was I really appreciate you taking the garbage out. So even to say thank you is affirmation of not necessarily praising you for doing that, but even, I think we were talking about this earlier today, like even when a child does something and they're like, hey, mama, look at me. And then you
Look
look
at what
them
I can
and they're
do.
like,
Yeah,
and it's
right.
like,
Yeah. Okay.
the average person would go, what was that? But the mama's got to go, good job. Oh, can't nobody do that surprise face like you. But it's like, that really wasn't even that great.
Yeah.
But because it's them and they need to hear, good job. Or, oh, that's so nice. Bring home the ugly picture. You can't draw. Look like a foot drew that. But you better not say that to that child. That child will be brokenhearted. But they need to hear, good job. Like, I think everybody needs to hear, good job.
Yeah,
So-
and these love languages are not just necessarily for relationships,
Oh.
but no, there's a multitude of texts that talk about how to speak the language of children, how
Yeah.
to speak the language of,
Yeah.
of people on your job,
Yes.
and things of that nature. So there's a lot of
It
stuff
works in a lot
that's
of
in
ways.
here, a lot of different ways, but for the purposes that most of us think about it, it's really more so about relationships and how we show up in love and like all of those things. So and speaking of love, one of the things that I earmarked in the book about in chapter 10 was this chapter called Love is a Choice, and it talks about that love doesn't erase the past, but it makes the future different. And that really kind of resonated with me. And another part of that page talks about we are not proud of those choices, although they may have seemed justified at the moment. So things that you may have done to hurt somebody, poor choices in the past don't mean that we must make them in the future. Instead, we can say, I'm sorry. I know I've hurt you, but I would like to make the future different. I would like to love you in your language. I would like to meet your needs. So kind of having said some of those things, have you encountered some situations where your love language has not been reciprocated in the way that you've expressed to your husband?
All the time.
Okay. And how do you handle that?
And so, because we're so when you're in relationship or when you're married, it is a process of becoming one. You are born one, and then you and him or them get together, and it's like, okay, we're two different ones, and then you have to sacrifice to become the one together, and that's a whole process.
Yeah.
Longer than 12 years. Quite sure it'll be 12 plus more 12 years a wife. But it is a process of becoming. And so when it's not spoken, I will say, I really need to hear from you. In that moment, I needed to hear, I'm proud of you. I needed to know that was good, just not necessarily because it wasn't good, because it was good because I did it. But I needed you to say, because that's how I hear love from you. I needed you to say, hey, that was good. I'm proud of you. Or, just whatever the case may be, I needed you to XYZ. You took out the trash. Or when you don't take the trash out, how it makes me feel. Or when you don't cut the grass, how I don't feel safe. So I have to flip it and figure out, part of the knowing the love language is knowing why is that important to me. And that was a growing moment, because when the grass is not cut, then what are you feeling? I'm not feeling safe. Why are you not feeling safe? Because it could be a snake in that grass, and the snake could bite me or my kids or bite him, and then what? So it's like a ripple effect. So when that's not done, or it's not, I will say,
Well,
hey,
your kids.
They are kids to me.
Yeah. So your kids, together, like
But they are ours.
ours.
They are
Yeah.
ours.
Like
But,
you said.
moms, we always say mine. But just when it's not, if it's not done, let's say the grass not cut, I will have to say, come out of myself and say, the grass is a little high. And I might have to say that with a pork chop cooked, though. Something cooked,
Okay.
or, be, in a position where I can say it in a manner that is well received. Not like, I don't like that grass, Who are you talking to, lady? You got to
Right.
get yourself together
Right,
before
right.
you approach them about that. So then I have to say it in a way that it is approachable, sweet, mannerable, and understand he might not get the language. Doesn't matter if we've been together for 12 years, 20 years, 30 years. it just may be something, especially since that's not one of his primary at all. So that's something different for him. It looks like this, it looks like that.
How has
And
that?
so-
How has that been received in the past? Like you just
Oh, in the
being-
beginning, I didn't know how to say it.
Okay, well, like
I used the whole, you ain't cut that grass, and why you ain't, and you ain't, and this.
yeah.
It was this. But now I can say, that grass. And do, something on the shoulder or something. And then it's a little bit received, or I can give a hug or kiss and then say it, because I can't just come out off the cuff and say, because it's the way that you say things to the person sometimes, and the reception, and take into the account a lot of times, are you working, all the things that we have going on. That may be why it's not cut. So I have to see, okay, lady, is it not cut? Because that man been busy. Like, get yourself together.
Is it? And what I was going to say was, in just the conversation that you had where you said, in that moment, I needed you to, et cetera, et cetera. I've had that happen to me before, where people have said, oh, well, I expected, or I had this expectation. A lot of times it was an expectation that wasn't
Spoken.
communicated. And so it was, well, I expected this, or I thought you would have. Now, as somebody on the receiving end of that, I've gotten a little bit, not defensive, not super defensive,
It's offensive.
but I've gotten, like, I've been like, okay, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't talk about this. And so had I been in the situation where you were like, in that moment, I needed you to do this.
Right.
How did you, one, how was it received? Let me ask that. And then two, let me ask that first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Ask
in
that
the
first.
moment when I said, in that moment I needed you to this, it was better received than, why you ain't cut that grass? Because that is more attacky. When you say, hey, you know what, when this happened, I felt. Because it's not necessarily, I'm not saying you, the word choice of leaving you out of it is less accusatory versus me saying, why you ain't say this, or why you ain't. If I say, hey, you know what, when that happened, I needed this to happen. It doesn't even say, because you can't find anything to be offended about in that unless you want to. But when I come to you and I say, I feel, then it's less aggressive than you did and you didn't do. If I love you, then it's not about what you didn't do. It was about, in that moment, I needed this from you, and I would like that. Or in that moment, I needed that. You're my person. We know that. We don't have to say that. But what I can say is, I needed to feel this way, and I didn't feel that way.
Then the second part of that is, when you made that declaration to him, were you then able to move forward?
Yes, because he said, I'm sorry, I didn't know that's what you needed.
Okay, cool.
And of course, the part of me that needed was like, come on, bro. But then, the other part is like, okay. Because, I mean, what can I say? Like, if you didn't know that some of the things that we do in communicating love, we can teach you the language, but you have to figure out when to speak it.
Okay.
So that's sort of like a human response. Like, okay, is this the part? Do you need it's like crying. Do you need a hug? Do you need a softie? Or do you just need me to stand here and wait for you to get done crying? So it's sort of like, you got to decide when to activate that.
Holy Ghost activate.
Yeah, at Holy.
Activates. Bow. Ow.
Because you got
Bow. And so,
yeah.
So that's been the thing.
We plan to have a few laughs on here.
Yeah, a little bit.
We usually
just
have a few laughs, and we're going to have
more.
some today.
Yeah, we normally do more than that, but we're trying to
get your love
trying to get
lives
through.
together.
Yeah, we're trying to help y'all get this together for real.
Loves.
So that's been the issue, I think, for me when that happens, is people aren't able to move forward from that. Like, if I apologize, so I go through the process of whenever you make a mistake with somebody, you have to identify the mistake, you have to apologize for the mistake, and then you have to correct it. So if I've identified that I didn't know, I'm gonna just keep talking. You got it. I'll run back through it again, but you have to identify.
Y'all taking notes because this is good.
Yeah.
Identify, And then what else you got to do?
Apologize is number 2.
Please apologize.
And then number 3 is correct.
And then you got to correct it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the
Or at
identify.
least try.
Yeah.
your
Or
best.
and let someone give you the opportunity to correct it. If I wronged you, you know what? I apologize, or I wronged you in this way.
Yes.
I said this, I did this, I didn't do this, I didn't say this. I apologize for that. I was unsure of that. I didn't know that that was a thing
Right.
for you.
Right.
In the future, I will make sure that I'm aware of that stuff. And then when the opportunity presents itself again, then I get the chance to correct that situation.
Right.
But I've been in relationships where I can get to the identify and the apologize part, but then they're so stuck in that space that they don't want to allow me to correct. It's okay, you wronged me, you apologize,
We're
sure,
saying that.
that's fine, but I'm gonna see what you're gonna do. But it's like, okay, you're already in this negative space,
Right.
and you're already
You're
in a
looking for
place.
me to wrong
You're
you.
looking for me to wrong you again, yeah, because you've been wronged so many times in the past that you this seems too familiar to you. And it's like, but I'm a completely different person, and I may not even be aware of all of the things that were wrong or in the ways that you were wrong in the past. So I don't know these things. And so that's why I asked if you were able to move forward. And we had a conversation earlier about moving forward is one thing, moving on is something
another.
else,
That's right.
and then moving away is something else too. So moving forward as in like we're going to move forward together in this, or you know what, I accept your apology. I understand you didn't know. Let's have a conversation about this so that you have a lot more awareness in that moving forward. So then we can move forward together.
And the awareness part is important because then if you are wronged, you have to know, okay, why did that feel like that?
Yeah.
Why was cutting grass like worthy enough for us to go back and forth and me to stay there? Like what was
And
what was
every
that
time
about?
you hear the word grass in this,
Take a shot,
Take a
and
shot.
you-
Yeah, every time you hear the word grass, take a shot.
This is water, by the way, but I'm going to
With
move
gin.
on and say something else. I'm going to say something else. But in the event that you are wronged or you are offended by something and you can't move on, like you said, you got to figure out what you're going to do. You move forward, move whether or not you're going to stick and stay with that, or the other part is the work is not just for you. So you said you would identify, then you would actually apologize, and you try to correct. Okay, so once you correct, but the other part is you're not the only one to do the work. The other person has to know, okay, you know what? Him correcting it looks like, because you might think you're correcting whatever. You might think that you're doing something, and in essence, they're like, that still ain't it. That ain't, I don't care what you do. You have to almost call them to the carpet and say, what does correcting this look like for you? And then in that moment, what could I have done differently to make you feel XYZ?
Yeah.
Or just ask them straight, hey, what did that make you feel like? What could I have done? And that makes them accountable for
Do you
what
think
it
as a
was
people
that
we have
they're offended by.
that level of emotional intelligence?
Not initially.
Okay.
I think that level of emotional intelligence comes with experience and 12 years of life.
Slash.
And continued, like, getting sick and tired of it. Like, okay, you know what? I'm sick of being, like, at odds with you. Like, I can't love you and hate you at the same time. Like, we can't constantly have battles
it's a
about
thin
grass
line.
and about dishes and about a pork chop. And it just can't always be a thing. Like, what is, at the end of all this, what is it that you need that I need? What language are you speaking? What language do I need? How can you meet my needs? How can I meet your needs? And we can all live, like, in the most, like, at least try to live in the most harmonious environment possible. Reciprocating the love language, I think that's another situation that's come up, like trying to reciprocate it or thinking that you were speaking it and you really are not, is a challenge, because you might think, okay, you know what, this is acts of service. But if it serves you in totality but not me, that's not my love language. That's something with you. That's not, if I never mentioned to you about cleaning the garage out, and the garage ain't bothering me, you're not speaking my love language. You're probably doing something that you want to do.
Yeah, it's like what the text says about making sure that your love tank is full. So it's whatever that is and however that needs to manifest. So if your tank is full because I am pouring into you with your specific love language, then I'd like that same reciprocity.
Right.
And if I have to compromise,
Right.
you should be able to compromise too.
Right.
Did you ever have an aha moment about your partner's love language or your own?
The aha moments still come.
Okay.
The reason why my love, so again, that other level, figuring out why my love languages are what they are is not rooted in anything current. It's rooted in my childhood.
Okay.
So there's a reason why I like the words of affirmation. There's a reason why I like the acts of service. Like, there's reasons behind these things. I can't think of any other science behind it. Those are all aha moments. Like finding out, okay, words of affirmation, that came from this. It's like, oh, like saying good morning. That's an affirmation for me. Saying good morning says, I'm glad you made it through the night and you didn't die. Like, I'm glad to see you. Like, good morning, everybody. It's an acknowledgement of my presence and that you're glad that I'm here and I'm glad that you're here. But that aha moment was I grew up with saying good morning. My brother said good morning. My mother said good morning. And so the first time as we became married, my husband and I, and he didn't say good morning, I was a little offended. I was like, what we do? You want me dead or something? Because, like, yeah, I went all the way to you want me dead.
Well,
Look at
that's
that.
what you do. You'll be here, and then you'll go way down there, and you're
Guns
like,
up all the way
yeah,
over.
it's like,
Went-
how did we get over there?
Because to me it was that
Like you are a night crawler. You have teleported yourself way over
there.
Yeah.
I went all the way from
Over where again?
from-
Over there. Yeah.
way out on the hill.
Yeah,
So
over there.
please.
Did anything come for me?
So did anything come for me? Don't mess with my mailbox. Okay.
Yeah.
Am I chilling out of here?
Yeah.
Okay. So the aha moment was finding out that that's where that came from. And it was like, and even to this day, I'm not lying to you. Today is what, we are, about in 3 more months, about to be 13 years in this
Okay.
thing. And
Okay.
actually, we've been together for 22 years. So it's been a long
Okay. So y'all were together for 10 years before you got married.
time. Very long. Yes, we were together for a multitude of minutes and years before he decided that, they don't
Right.
make them like this.
Right.
You know, they're not like this out there. Yeah. So the ahas come at every turn of like, oh, is that what that means? So I don't know if that's just a me thing or if other people have you ever experienced like the whole, oh, that's where I get that from, or that's why that's, so important to me. Like even now, if he don't say it good and clear to me, I'm like, what you say now?
It's weird because hearing you say that, I'm not sure where those words of affirmation come from because, well, I take that back. I understand where I was affirmed, but I was more affirmed in terms of praise, which is why I said earlier.
Like what? See, I'm not.
Oh,
disclaimer, I'm
you-
not as smart as him. So
Yes, she
explain,
is. She's
explain.
way smarter sometimes than I am, but we just have different realms of
do.
intelligence. But I was always praised. Like, I got good grades in
Oh.
school, and I would get good grades, and it was, oh, you did a good job here, or you did, you played in this school project, and I'm saying school, you played in the band. I played in the band when I was in elementary school as well, and oh, my baby did this solo, and did this, and come in and do this impersonation of
Y'all
Woody
shoulda
Woodpecker
heard my
for
baby.
us. Yeah,
Boy,
right.
he sure can't.
Yeah, all of that, and I want you to play When the Saints Go Marching In at the church.
Play that for you. Play that
Yeah,
Al
play
Jarreau,
that.
baby.
Yeah, right.
Play that Al Jarreau.
Yeah, right. Play that Al Green. Yeah. So
Play
yeah,
that song for the reunion.
but yeah. So I got that sort of praise, but it's like now it doesn't. That doesn't. I don't feel like that is more what I'm looking
That's
for in the
affirming
affirmation.
what you do, not who you
Yeah,
are.
it's yeah. And so for me, it's
I
like
preached on that.
you
heard
did.
it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was like, that's what it was. So the affirmation for me is who I am, not necessarily what
Because
I
I
can
did
do.
this, right.
And I will go a step further and say that the affirmation, it doesn't necessarily have to be about who I am, because I know who I am, and I'm pretty,
There you
I'm
go.
pretty solid and clear about who I am, but it's just validation or affirmation about who we are and how we move. If I'm in any sort of relationship, it's like, okay, like, a quick "I love you" is like, okay, yeah, like I haven't heard that from you in a while. That's all I needed. I'm full, at that point. So it's those sorts of things. So the affirmation, the words of affirmation, has shifted a bit for me in that, and it's it's interesting that yours kind of traveled with you from childhood to now that you make you understand it, and you're like, okay, I see that. But for me, it's like that's what it was, and then it kind of shifted or morphed into something else. So.
That's something. So one of the things that is said in the book is that love is a choice, and either partner can start the process today. This is a very good book. I really like this book. The other love languages of gifts. I'm not a good gifts person. You all are probably like, she is married, but she don't have on a ring. No, I don't. You know why? Because she lost it. And so it's, And I don't have it on today. I have one of those fancy bracelets that you buy. It's really expensive. Starts with a P, ends with the aura, because they have them at the mall. I asked for that. I think I have just a clasp on that. All the charms probably are on the floor. I don't know. I'm not a gifts person.
Or Rocky has
or
eaten them.
somewhere. I don't know. Pocketbooks. I mean, that's cute and all. But it's just not, the thing.
Yeah, it's symbolic of it, but it's not.
It's
it
not
doesn't.
the thing.
Yeah, it's not the thing. Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. One of the things that I think we talked about earlier today, too, we had a pre-conversation, seems like, doesn't it, about communication and then the role that it plays in engaging somebody in your love language. So how would you express to someone what you needed from them? Because you're single, but maybe they're listening and they can hear you. And they want to show you, your love language.
It's always about the communication for me. And it may feel like I am trying to go too hard in the communication, but I don't feel like I can go that hard in the paint when it comes to communication. And I like to, whenever I'm getting to know someone, I want to dig into as much as I can. And if something happens, or if something is said, or I feel a certain type of way, I'm going to interrogate that.
Yes,
I am confrontational. And I talk about that all the time. I am confrontational. I will confront you like, okay, wait, hold on. Now what's that? What is this? What does this look
that don't
about?
make no sense. That's what he was saying.
Yeah, right. I was like, yeah, how
It can't
how does
possibly
that,
be. Cause
how does that working? So I'm going to interrogate that, and I think that turns people away sometimes because they think that I'm just trying to be, quote, in their business, and it's like, well, kinda, because if you and I are going to become something, I need to know as much as I need to know so that I can fully support you. But people don't understand the end game in it. They just understand what you're trying to do right now and what it feels like right now. And then, but tell me that. Like, okay, well, you're asking a lot of questions. Like, why are you asking a lot of questions? And it's like, well, because I need to know certain things.
And the thing about it is, for some people, that's offensive.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh, you, like you said, get into my business. Blah. But if you're really trying to know the person, then I want to know all those people.
Yeah, I need to know. I need to all those, and I need us to be able to go back, and I need us to be able to sit in some things that might be uncomfortable for us.
Right.
And I've had a few people in my life that have asked me questions, and I tell people all the time, I'm an open book, so you can ask me questions because that's cathartic for me. It helps me understand, oh, you know what? Nobody's asked me that before. And I might have thought about it, but I might not have really delved that deep into why it was. And so then that opens the door for me to be able to kind of sit in whatever it is and go, you know what? I'm not sure. When I was young, this happened and this happened and this happened. You know, oh, that could be it. Oh, that could be it. And so then I start to make those mental notes, and I can become better, not only for me, you know, and for me first and foremost, but for somebody else. So that's the thing that I'm always about.
That's good. Yeah, because remember this morning I was like, so you digging at the root. So we talked about asking those questions.
You were asking about those questions. Yeah, and you were like, where are we going to get to?
So
yeah.
where is the end to these questions? So with the love languages and knowing, and I think I said this morning too, knowing who your partner is, who your person is, knowing, as they say, knowing who your audience is important, because it's like, if I know that this person has XYZ limitations, or hey, that's not who that person really is, that's going to take me to another level in knowing them and loving them, because it's like, okay, you know what? That's who that person is. Or I know this about them, and in knowing them, that may or may not work. You got to kind of know your person in relationship.
Yeah, and there has to be time to do that.
Oh, yeah.
And
that all takes this whole process. I don't care what relationship it is. It could be work, friendship, raising your kids, it all takes time.
Because you have to choose your kids.
Because you have to choose your kids.
Get my children out of here.
Exactly. So
shout out to T.S. Madison and Craig, the writer.
That's right.
Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't have no bottles to rattle. But
right.
Have you ever tried this in another situation? Like, have you tried the love languages? And y'all, I don't think that we did an in-depth dive, and that's why you got to get the book.
Yeah, get the book.
About what the love languages are. Again, we touched on what ours are, and you'll find out what yours are. You can go online. We'll put the link in the bio. But have you tried this in any other friendship, relationship, work?
You know, I've asked people what their love languages are.
Do they know what you're talking about?
Yeah, most of them do.
Okay.
Most of them do.
Most people like, what you talking about?
Yeah, my love language. And then it's funny sometimes when people, they just use whatever they want to as a love language. It's like, well, no, that's not one of the 5. Talking about, well, food is my love language.
I love food.
I love food. I don't know what you talking about.
If
you make me some chitlins and give me some liquor,
sea loaf.
and a sea loaf, right. You know, but it's like, okay, so what are you know? I've asked those questions,
right?
But I don't ask those questions necessarily for. I really only ask those questions in romantic relationships. I will say that. And not to say that they're not valid anywhere else, but I really only ask those questions in romantic relationships.
Really?
I know what other people's love languages are because I've been around them. So like Jeff, my co-host best friend, I know what his primary, shout out to Jeff, I know what his primary love language is. His primary love language is quality time. And he didn't have to tell me that. Yeah, he didn't have to tell me that. But knowing him enough and having had plenty of conversations with him, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so you can figure it out. My other best friend, Sean, probably his love language would be, it would probably be gifts. Gifts would be high up for him, I feel like. It may not be gifts, may not be his primary. His might be words of affirmation too, because physical touch is definitely low on his list. Like his is probably 5, and acts of service is probably 2 or 3, somewhere in there. So I would think that what did I say? Quality time.
Quality time.
Yeah, I could see. No, not Jeff. Who did I say Sean's quality? His was. Gifts. So I'm thinking his is up there. So again, I don't know if it was. Yeah. So his might be gifts. But I'm not sure. I've not really asked.
And so that's the point of conversation. And see that in your relationships takes it to another level, because then it's like, oh, nobody's ever asked me that, or then you find out, oh, I didn't know that about you. That's different.
Yeah.
So for me, it's been with my children. So all of them are different people, and they all have different love languages. And so my daughter's love language, quality time. She used to always be like, hey, we're going to put pajamas on. We're going to watch TV. We're going to all come downstairs. And now it's like, well, nobody even want to watch Frozen right now. But Okay.
We're going to watch it. Yeah.
And so she was like, I want to do this. And she would always have her agenda of what she wanted. Everybody put their pajamas on. Everybody make some popcorn. We're going to have this. We're going to do this. And she would have it planned out what she wanted. And I'm like, what is this kid doing? But what she was doing was expressing quality time because that's what she wanted to do. So now as a growing, almost 17-year-old, the way she says it is, I want to take a vacation. I want all of us to go on vacation. So that's her quality time thing.
And what about your other two? Your two boys?
For Jaden, excuse me, I said his name out loud, sorry. They see how they just roll out. I love my kids. I think they all have quality time, and there's the little girl, hers is number one. The oldest one, I think his is more of, and I haven't asked them, so I got work to do. They're old now, so it changes with them being older. With the middle child, it's more of what I perceive to be a physical touch.
Okay.
And you can feel it in the melting down of his hug.
Okay.
It's just so, it's my baby. And then the oldest one is also the same with the whole physical touch thing.
Okay.
The quality time thing also is one of their top two because the talking. The older they get, the older child, the older he gets, the talking. The quality time and just sitting and talking about everything from politics.
Because he can talk.
Shut up.
Because he can. Yeah.
Love lives and all the things. He can talk about everything.
And it's always funny because when I come around, I'll talk to everybody. Yeah, he'll talk to me, and then it's funny. He won't say anything first, and then it'll be like a laugh before he goes into the story. So it's like, and so you remember that time when, or I was talking to and it's like, okay, where did that come from?
Where we
what
we're talking about here?
Yeah, because we weren't talking at all, and then all of a sudden you just.
Because he was sitting there thinking about it.
He was thinking about a lot. Yeah, he was doing that.
So, yes, they are, and over time as they've grown, it's evolved to become something else. Nobody's really a gift person.
Yeah.
Not really. I'm so glad because I'm no gifts.
We're
not
all
like
broke,
that.
and we're about to be
acts of
even more
service,
broke.
Not really. I think probably acts of service is low on their list. It's not like a whole do this for me type deal, and I feel this way.
Got you. Okay. Yeah. What would you tell your younger self about your love language or about how to navigate this if we had these tools back when we were younger?
I would tell my younger self, first of all, read this book. Because I think we had the elements of this book, but we didn't have the vernacular.
We didn't have the names, we didn't have the nomenclature for it.
Like your parent may say, oh, that one there, they like so-and-so. Oh, they ain't worried about no gifts. They like this. But we didn't give it these actually 5 categories to put them in. One thing I would tell my younger self is give yourself grace. Know what your love languages are and why they are. Figure out then where that was coming from, what it looks like, sound like. The things that I know now that I didn't know then, I would tell myself, hey, they may not communicate it the way that you need it to be, but that doesn't mean that they don't love you. You've got to teach them how to love. You got to teach them what love looks like to you.
Yeah. And
take it from there, because there's things that you find out as you get older, and it's like, dang, look at all the wreckage behind me. Like I could have easily just maybe talked that out, or maybe I didn't know that was love, or man, they did love me. Like that's something that he took out that trash. I'm just joking, but he cut the grass. I'm joking, but
that's another shot.
Just take another shot. But just looking at my younger self and just saying, figure out what love really means to you. Then you'll be able to communicate that with other people. Even, as you grow older and get children, learn your children's love languages too. But these are things that I've learned by experience.
Yeah.
So it's been something. It's something to learn it and then find out about it in hindsight. And it's like, man,
I've been doing this.
This whole little manuscript out here, I'd have been line on line on this thing.
Yeah.
Even how you perceive people. that's a whole nother thing. It's like the perceptions of people or what they thought or what you thought they thought of you. That wasn't right. They really did like love you.
Yeah. I think I would agree with a lot of what you said. I probably would have done. It would have made me a little bit more aware of my own stuff, and that's always super important to me, is personal growth and self-awareness, because I've learned about myself that I don't do well with people who don't have self-awareness. It's like, okay, if you're not self-aware, I'm gonna keep my distance from you. But I definitely would have been able to again, like you said, put names to some of the things that I just kind of created myself, or I named myself. Oh, he tripping, or she's, this or whatever. I could articulate it, but I didn't have the words for it. I had to do the whole explanation thing. So I would definitely tell myself, same thing that you said about give yourself grace. And I would probably tell myself to stand a lot firmer in how you feel in that moment.
No compromise.
Don't shy away from it, or don't back away like, oh, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. Step on everybody's toes. It's fine.
They out there.
They'll be all right. They shouldn't be out there in the first place. What you go down there for? Yeah, what you go down there for?
What you go down there for?
So, all of that. So thank you for having this conversation with me and with all of the viewers out here about the 5 love languages. Again, the book is The 5 Love Languages. Depending on which version you get, hers says how to
express heartfelt commitment to your mate.
And
or your children.
And be deluxe. And I have the abridged version, which was cheaper probably, and it's not signed, that just says The Secret to Love That Lasts. So just make sure you check this out. Again, we'll put the bio for the where you can find the book, and also a bio for where you can take the test to learn about your own specific love languages. And it's not just take a test and then know what your love language is, but take that test, know what your love language is, and then read the book so that you can see how to navigate with the people who are around you. So again, thank you for coming. It's Anjeleigh. I'm your boy, DMC. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our podcast. We will definitely be back for more.
We're going to have a comedy show next time. This isn't as light as we usually
we're usually
are.
Super dumb.
Yeah, we usually are like way out there. But this is a topic that we really need to focus on this season of life. So we appreciate you all, and we will catch y'all next time. Yep. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Now be sure to like, share, and follow us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, and Spotify at Just Draws. That's JUSTDRAWZ. Until next time,